It's always a lovely time for me to sit here with my friends and my family, those of you who are at home as well, and discuss very critical issues. The program is Conversations, and my name is Elizabeth Abai. It's my pleasure, like I said earlier. Now, today may sound a little bit gloomy because of the topic, but then at the end of the day, our intent, the results, will make us, definitely smile. What is the focus? When women get married, men get married, we always want to have children. Sometimes it's wrongly done. Sometimes we want too much. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, it costs life, it costs health. What is our focus? Maternal health in Nigeria especially. And I know that yesterday it was a day we celebrated or marked the obstetrics fistula. We'll be talking all about that and other safety issues around the maternal health of the mother and the child, of course. And I said in the house, we have my friends, we have my family members. I don't even know who is my family member here now, but you will tell me. Are you a family member?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Hello, good morning. My name is Maimuna Omi Abdullah, aka Coach Didi.
Okay. Family member too.
Well, it's nice to be here. My name is Devan Hamat, your mom.
And this is friend now. Doctor?
Yeah, the only man in the house. I'm Dr. Bartholomew Odio.
All right, Doctor, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, you're a man, you don't give birth. So what is he doing inside women's circle, and then of course discussing women issues? But I'm sure they'll get cleared up when you start speaking. Before you get to do that, someone told me a story and we tried to reenact that story. My winning team as usual did super duper work. Let's see what they have.
My name is Julie. I'm from Nairobi in Kenya, a mother of 8 children. I got married quite early at the age of 15. I started having children immediately. When I was 35, I had 9 children. I lost one, but all was through successful delivery. I actually did not want to have as many children as I do now because I wasn't educated. But my husband insisted. He said we shouldn't do family planning, which my mother-in-law wasn't supporting. She said that children are gifts from God, so we could not stop them from coming. Even when I asked for means of taking care of them, she will always say God will provide. When I had my 9th child, I thought I was going to die. In fact, I told God I was ready to die. But unfortunately, I'm alive. I'm alive with lots and lots of complications. I can't hold my urine anymore. I have a constant pouch for urine. My waist and back are always paining me. And the doctor said my spinal cord is also involved. I wished I had listened to some of my friends who ran away from their prospective marriages, but I was obedient. obedient to my own detriment. I wish my parents went to school, because if they were alive, they would have not been happy with what is happening to me. I'm making my situation public because I want other people to learn. Children are not baggages that we keep piling and piling. One or two is enough so that we can provide for their needs and also take care of our bodies. But most importantly, we should only get married and bear children when we are ready. Don't be like me, because right now I live in pain.
Alright, you almost caught me there trying to stop myself from, getting too emotional. That's because that story is quite touching. And perhaps again because I know it's not just a drama, it is a real story of a person that I know, and some people here probably do know too. It's sad, it's sad. But I'm tempted to go straight to you to talk about this. I noticed you were also shaking your head, and I kept wondering, as a man, have you had children? Did you have the same problem? Okay, I'm trying to make it light so that we remove the load of the emotion that is around us. But then, her story is she had so many children. She began early, and complications set in. What are those complications that may have put her in such a situation? I mean, carrying pouch around to gather urine and all of that.
Okay, thank you. Just to start with, when I listened to this woman, I tried to profile her, and I noticed that she falls into the category of people that are prone to morbidity and mortality. First of all, we have these 4 twos, which she falls into. First one, she became pregnant too early, at the age of 15, if you listen to her. And then the second one, too soon, probably she wasn't spacing her childbirth. And then the third one, too many. She had 9 children, and probably too late, getting pregnant later in life, which, of course, like she said, wearing a pouch, she probably has developed one of the complications associated with childbirth. You could see this thing was stained with urine, and a devastating complication known as obstetrics fistula, and it's a condition associated with childbirth, especially births that are not taken care of appropriately by skilled birth attendants. And in Nigeria, has one of the highest burden of obstetric fistula in the world. In fact, Nigeria contributes to about 40% of global obstetric fistula.
That's sad. 40%?
Yeah.
So the rest of the world has 60.
Wow.
That's too much.
Nigeria is said to have a prevalence of about 150,000 women living with obstetric fistula, with annual incidence of 12,000. And the sad thing is that we have very few doctors that are specialized in the management of obstetric fistula. So every year about 5,000 cases are being repaired. So what it translates to is that at that rate, if we continue going at that rate, it will take us about 30 years to complete finish repairing the backlog. Not even counting the annual incidence of 12,000. So you can see, and then you begin to ask yourself, what is this fistula? The fistula is just an abnormal communication between two surfaces or two cavities. So what happens in this case is there is injury during childbirth, leading to a kind of abnormal communication, or what somebody can just say, a hole connecting probably the bladder to the private part, vagina, and causing the vesical vaginal fistula, and it results in incontrollable leakage of urine. You could also have a abnormal communication between the rectum and the vagina, and what happens in that case is leakage of feces, rectovaginal fistula. And some people could even have both occurring in the same person. So that's the challenge. Probably that's what the woman had.
It's really sad. It's really sad. You mentioned something now. I'm trying to look at what could cause it. You mentioned having babies too early could cause it. Having unspaced, enough space. What when we say spacing well, what is spacing well really?
Yeah, that's child spacing. At least pregnancy interval should be at least 24 months.
24 months is 2 years.
Yeah, it's about 2 years. Yeah. And then for fistula, the major direct cause of fistula is prolonged obstructed labor. That's the major, obstructed labor.
Doctor, please, can you bring it down? Because our program is actually for people like us who don't know.
Okay, labor is said to be obstructed when, as a result of certain factors, a woman is unable to deliver vaginally unless intervention happens very, very fast. Okay, let me give you an example. In obstetrics, in labor, we have two parameters: the passage and the passenger. The passage is that canal where the child has to come out from, and then the passenger is the baby. So let me ask you, in normal life, normal circumstances, if the passenger is bigger or larger than the passage, do you think that passenger will be able to come out? Simply not. That's what happens in obstetrics, in obstructed labor. Probably as a result of maybe the size of the baby, the position of the baby, or even the size of the pelvis. That's why we discourage people getting pregnant too early. At 15 years, still developing, the pelvis has not fully developed. In those days, we used to say it's like a baby carrying another baby. So you can see. So, and then what that person needs at that point in time is emergency obstetrics care. Probably deliver the baby through cesarean section. And when that is not available, it could lead to that fistula that she presented.
Could it be the reason why there's so many CS happening these days? A lot of people give birth, and as they tell me CS.
Some of them are elective. They don't decide to have CS.
Oh, okay. Why would I want to do CS rather than normal?
Yeah, there's this
it's easier to heal.
Cesarean section on maternal request, which some people, like you said, advocate for, especially those who are exposed to Western culture. But we always remember that CS itself has its own complications. Yeah. So we don't advise people to go. We only advise people to have cesarean section when there is real obstetrics indication, when there is real reason, and not just because I don't want to feel pain, so you go and subject yourself to
the pain you feel after labor, after the cesarean session. I think it's more than the pain you feel when you go and get it done the normal way.
I've seen people outrightly, they will come and tell you, doctor, once right from the time they are pregnant, doctor, I don't want to go through the pains of labor. Please, just when it's time, just take me to the theater and have me get my baby out.
I think even when labor sets in, CS can still be
sure.
Which is usually when it's done. That's when the baby is having difficulty coming out.
Exactly, that one now becomes emergency. You know, we have emergency cesarean section. We have the ones we schedule. So that one becomes a emergency cesarean section when labor cannot progress adequately, and then you want to save the life of the baby and also the mother, so you need to go and.
Doctor, can I ask a question? But how long is prolonged labor?
Okay. Well, you know that averagely, when labor gets more than 12 hours, it becomes an issue, and you know that people are different, all the same. The progress may not be the same in the primary. The primary is somebody who is just for the very first time, may not be the same with somebody whose pelvis has already been tested, somebody who has so the point there is that people that are in labor should deliver with skilled birth attendants where proper monitoring will be conducted. No labor even in a particular woman, what you encountered in your previous district may not be the same.
Okay, no two labors are the same.
Yeah, no two labors are the same.
So even if you have 10 children, we will not have that. So even if we have that much, so each pregnancy comes with a different.
Okay,
that's good to know. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering. We've talked about before we move from this obstetrics fistula. A lot of people will be wondering when it happens, just like the story the girl said. You get complications. What is the next thing to do? How do we fix it? Is it even fixable?
That's a good story that fistula is preventable and curable completely.
Wow, that's good news. That's good news.
That's a good story. We have specialist doctors that are specialized in fistula repair. The only thing is that the client needs to present herself to the facilities where she'll be assessed and then repaired. Like the project we implement, Momentum Safe Surgery, Family Planning and Obstetrics, being a USAID funded project implemented by Engender Health, we offer holistic fistula management. From the preventive level, we have community volunteers that go out to speak to women, raise awareness on the need for safe obstetric practice. When somebody is pregnant, should get to the hospitals for antenatal care and then listen to the healthcare providers, and when she's in labor, should try to deliver with a skilled birth attendant. That's one of it. And then we offer fistula surgeries, that's the repair, and then very critical part of it is, again, is what we call reintegration, rehabilitation and reintegration.
Why do they need to do that?
Because if you look at the profile of fistula clients, they face a lot of stigmatization and discrimination. It's funny that the same man that caused the problem will just abandon the woman. Most times you notice that they are ostracized, and so it becomes even difficult for them to be part of the society. Imagine a woman leaking urine and feces uncontrollably. So most of the times they are like just allowed to go and die. So after the repair, and then why do they do that? Because of the misconceptions and myths they have about fistula. Most people don't even know what causes fistula. So after the repair, you need to rehabilitate that woman. Rehabilitation could be by way of physical rehabilitation, because some of them come down with other morbidities. Some even come down with obstetric palsy. You see them limping, so you have to get the services of physiotherapists. And then you have the social rehabilitation aspect, whereby, it's a disease of poverty, ignorance. So you need to empower this woman to at least be able to do something to earn a living, so that she doesn't completely depend on the male population for her livelihood. So you need to empower them. Sometimes we train them, they learn a trade.
In Abuja here?
Yeah, we do.
I wanted you to learn so I can ask my very important question. You were saying we offer surgery. Do you offer it for a cost, or is it free?
The good thing about it is that fistula surgery is completely free.
Wow, that's good.
That's a good thing about it.
So anybody who has this kind of problem can access, treatment free of charge.
Exactly.
That is the one Nigerians want to hear. Please, if I want to access it, how do I go about it?
We have different fistula centers in Nigeria. We have about 20 to 20 facilities that offer fistula surgery across Nigeria. In Abuja here, our center is General Hospital Wali.
Wali?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have trained fistula surgeons around that can offer repair. So it's not only we take care up to the level of even feeding them throughout the period of, we're working in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health, because these people are very poor. If you allow them, they will not even present themselves to the hospital. So,
okay. Now, beyond the fistula problem, I don't know, all of us here are mothers. I mean, you've gone through it, I've gone through it. What other challenges do we present, as women at the hospital that could also cause maternal issues? Did you have any experience?
Yeah, apart from fistula is just one of them. There are other other morbidities. And let me let you know that Nigeria, of course, has one of the highest maternal mortality in the world again. Our maternal mortality ratio is about 512 per 100,000 live births. Look at our...
Is that in 1 year?
No, per 100,000 live births.
Okay, 100,000.
Look at our neighbor, South Africa. They have reduced their maternal mortality ratio to only 87 per 100,000 live births.
Wow.
So you can see, and for every maternal mortality that occurs, you have several morbidities. Morbidities, simply put, morbidity means illness. Mortality means that's extreme end, extreme which is death. Yeah. So apart from fistula, women came down with other physical problems like I talked about, obstetric palsy. Sometimes they come down with a lot of psychological, emotional problems. So that's why it is good to manage them holistically. So the fulcrum there is that safe obstetrics care is very, very, very safe. Motherhood is very, very, very important. Before even a lady contemplates getting pregnant, she should consult a doctor, have a kind of preconception.
Did you hear that comment?
Yeah, that's one thing we don't do in this environment. There's what we call preconception counseling. Preconception.
Did you do it?
No. I didn't hear it.
Even me as a doctor, as an obstetrician and gynecologist, I don't think my wife did that also. But so that's it. Like where you will be investigated, and what's your genotype like, what other premorbid conditions, diabetes, hypertension, if there are existing conditions, could be managed before the person gets pregnant. But what happens in our environment is sometimes people don't even know when they get pregnant. The only thing they notice is that this thing is growing, shooting up, and then they know that they are pregnant. So it's for preconception counseling, so that all these investigations will be done, and then the person will be certified fit to conceive.
I wish Nigeria gets to that level. We're going to
I think to a certain degree, when you talk about like the premarital counseling that takes place, it is encouraged in churches that you should, at least things like genotype, HIV, and things like that, sorted out to a certain degree, but of course not to the level that he's talking about, which I think would require blood tests and all of that. So there's a little bit of it that happens just before marriage in the Christian faith, but I think the rest is left to the couple to decide. And it also depends a lot. It sounds like an elitist thing. This couple, they are doing well enough to start going to do investigations before getting pregnant, which people just randomly get pregnant, and that's what they tell you. No be belle, no be just, and all this kind of things. So, and then again, you also have to take a look at the fact that the average Nigerian doesn't believe in looking for problems that are not evident. The other day,
they're opening door for them.
That's exactly how people feel. That if you go and start looking for something, you will find it. So let's not look for it. So even people who are enlightened and have the resources and elite and all that might not be feeling it. The other day I was reading, I just came upon this comment on social media. It made me laugh so much I started crying. This fellow said, all this noise about genotype, it sounded really, I think maybe it's something that had touched him. All this noise about genotypes now. All these stupid girls that get pregnant in the village, nobody ever does genotypes for them, and they end up with healthy babies. When you carry a wife that you want to marry, they will tell you that you should go and do genotype, and lo and behold, he just wrote lo and behold and left it there. I laughed until I said, because it kind of, I'm like, well, it seems like each time people have unplanned kids, the kids come out perfectly okay.
But when house,
and nothing will happen. But when you go and start being so specific and particular, everything, they will tell you, your mother's side of the family has this one, your father's side has this one, you yourself, you have this. your husband has this. In fact, it's better not to have children. Okay, no, I'm just playing. But I'm just talking about the mentality that leads to people staying away from all these investigations.
Yeah.
May God get us there.
Yeah, you are right.
Somebody is writing, some people are writing, but let me quickly, somebody says here that the lady was too young for that marriage and the man needs to be punished. And seriously, that leaves me to ask a question, very pertinent. What is the right age to marry or what is the right age to actually begin to bear babies?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a good question, but there's no... there's no real... But somebody should be matured. You know the teenage age now. Remove the teenage age and then any other thing after the teenage.
Okay.
No, but I really want to come in with regard to this. There are teenagers that have a womanly body.
Yes.
That's another thing.
They have a womanly body. Certainly, the pelvis is not small. And this person might just be 13 or 14. Compared to my good friend, coach here, who is even tinier than I am, and has had 4 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nah, bigger than you, get out. She has had 4 kids. You know, I don't think she looks significantly different, at least the body, than she was like maybe when she was 15. I don't know. I can't.
I am significantly different from when I was 16.
Okay. Well, like I'm not like advocating. I'm just saying that there are teenagers whose bodies could, if we're looking strictly from the physical perspective, their bodies could handle pregnancy and birth.
Okay, remember also that pregnancy is not just a physical thing.
Exactly.
It's also psychological, emotional.
You know,
is that person really developed mentally to bear?
Yes.
You know, so these are all the things you
know, because consider. A lot of times when we say pelvic assessment, is it dependent on the size and bulk of the hips I'm seeing physically, or is there something we need to look at, from the inside? I know when you're giving birth at your, like you said, premise, the doctors will tell you to come for pelvic assessment, which they do from the interior. So is it as a man, as a woman, if I look at a bulky hip, does it automatically mean that this person's pelvic is large enough to push down a baby?
No, it doesn't really mean that, because
having a big hip is not
it's not
because some people will just
from the layman's perspective you say pelvis,
okay,
this one the hip is
when we do pelvic assessment, which is no longer a very common practice now, we look out for other things, not just the size of the pelvis. We look out for the configuration, the structures around there, and then the pelvis may be look of normal size, but the other structures may not be adequately positioned. So we look at all those, and just like I said, it's no longer a common practice, because we notice that sometimes the person you think has a normal pelvis may not even be able to deliver vaginally. So what influences labor is an interplay of several factors. Even the fetal size, the size of the fetus, the psyche of the mother, and the power. The power now has to do with uterine contraction, the strength of the uterine contraction. So all these come into play to know whether the woman will be able to deliver. So pelvic assessment is no longer a very, very common practice, even in the primates.
Okay, I don't know if you had the same issue when you were having your own. We're told a whole lot about Kegel exercises, for delivery. I'm wondering, did it in any way help?
I didn't even know about them then.
Oh, you knew about them after?
After.
Doctor, exercises, can it actually help you with the pelvic expansion when you're pregnant?
Yeah, well, does it really help? Well, it could. Like you just mentioned, Kegel exercises, one of those exercises we used to, we commonly used it even in prolapse, whereby there's a kind of loss of musculature, the ligaments are lax and some organs begin to drop down. So you ask the woman to, even in fistula, we use it again as one of the ways to control.
Okay, it can help.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
What about the seat bath we do after delivery? Does it have anything to help with the fistula?
Well, no, it doesn't have anything to help with the fistula. Sometimes seat bath is just after delivery, it just suits that environment and aids in healing. Sometimes so people prescribe it, but it's also not a very common practice again. And then sometimes after episiotomy or those lashes, you ask somebody to go and do seat bath.
And that ridiculously hot bath. I never had it.
And you're fine.
Yes, I never had it.
The hot bath, the one they press.
No,
the
not
tummy?
the pressing. The one that they come and pour hot water on your body as we are about to do.
Are you chicken?
But I know so many women that had it. I never had it.
Yeah,
your body.
That one is entrenched in culture. I
It's a
don't
cultural thing.
think it's a medical.
Just as
Definitely
people, women are encouraged to take a lot of hot tea, pepper soup, and things like that culturally. Even bathing that time, you're encouraged to bath with almost scalding hot water.
Wow.
In fact,
Okay.
my neighbor too had.
And this whole
from
business
Ebola,
of-
she was one that actually helped me out.
Okay.
I wasn't having the bath, so she made this really nice soup, insala soup, and she would put this peppers in it. It was God bless Madam Trustee.
So you
The
enjoy
way
it.
you're talking about it was the enjoyment, not the healing process.
at least I get the pepper soup. Pepper soup
No,
is
I
always a nice treat.
actually still like to eat some of those pepper soup for nursing
Spicy.
mothers. They're actually very nice,
Spicy.
And I don't know if it works or not, but somehow I feel when I take it, I'm a bit more healthier, from the inside, more like detox.
It
for
was
me.
soothing for me, honestly.
It's really soothing.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of people are writing in, and I'll quickly take them, but I want to take a little break. When we come back, we're still looking at safety of our mothers as we recreate, reproduce. That's what we call labor room and all the things that happen in there.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Alright, it's still conversation, and we're looking at maternal safety, especially with what happens in the labor room. We still have the Dr. Bartholomew in the house with us, and of course our usual ladies trying to find out questions and answers to that questions. Now, Doctor, before we took a break, I mentioned that we have questions. People are writing in to ask questions. But before I do that, we're talking about mistakes.
Well, there was something he said about women wanting to have CS because of fear of the pain of labor. And I feel like it goes beyond the fear of the pain of just labor itself to the childbearing process as well. Sometimes, like in instances where the baby is really large, there have been, these cases where, I don't know the technical term, the woman has to be increased. That's like literally sliced.
Episiotomy.
I mean, like the body.
Episiotomy.
Yes. So the birth canal is sliced open, and just even as a woman who has given birth, just hearing these stories, I was lucky I didn't experience all of that.
You didn't go through episiotomy?
No, thank you, Jesus.
I did.
I did as well.
So
It's like it's a normal thing.
listen, I'm a posh kid. I had a CS. So please, let's not do this. So anyway, but on a more serious note, there was nothing posh about it. I needed to have a CS, so CS was there. But the thing is that I hear these things, and to me they're so harrowing that if I were to like go through the whole thing again, I might be that person. I'll be like, it's 9 months. Where's the doctor? Let's go do this thing. You know, like. So I get where the fear is coming from. Fear of mistakes happening during the birth of the baby. If you try to do it the natural way and so on. But maybe the doctor can tell us more.
Okay, thank you. Like you.
You know, doctor, just to take in on that, I actually have a sister who was given CS, like you said. The baby came and they did the suture, finished and forgot some thread inside of her.
Thread is better than some sharp.
I'm telling you, the thing started swelling.
Oh my! Wow.
We went back. They had to tear her open again after about less than 1 month, and found out there was some thread left inside.
Thread or cotton wool?
It wasn't cotton wool. It was thread. Those white, long. Fiber-like stuff. You know, I think it's suture you could call it. I'm not sure.
Sutures. Well. Let me start with episiotomy. You asked whether episiotomy is given to all primates. The answer is no. Episiotomy is just a kind of small surgery we conduct at the perineum to expand the opening.
To help the big children come out.
Because sometimes, not even necessarily big, sometimes people have what we call very tight perineum, tight. So you know that during labor.
Perineum, you mean, is cervix?
Not the cervix, the vaginal opening, around the vaginal opening. So it's tight, and then, so for you to help that baby come out, you need to give an episiotomy. And the advantage it has is that if you don't do that, that perineum will tear. Yeah. And you know, because of the one you give, the episiotomy you give is controlled. Yes. You control it. But the tear that may happen is not controlled. It can tear into the rectum and even cause the rectovaginal fistula we are talking. But we also, what I'm saying here is that episiotomy is not mandatory. It's not compulsory. You must assess that woman and be convinced that she needs to have episiotomy. And then when we talk about medical errors, it does happen once in a while.
Once in a while, or regularly?
No, not regular. Please, it's not regular. Once in a while. Let me even, it's also shocking, it might shock you to know that recently we are having, shall we say, fistula is as a result of obstructed labor. That's what we agree. But recently we are having increase in what we call iatrogenic fistula. And what is it? Is the ones, when you hear iatrogenic, is injuries inflicted by medical personnel. You know, like during cesarean sections, or during peripartum, during hysterectomies, or other surgeries like removal of fibroids, somebody can inadvertently go into the bladder or go into the ureters, and then what happens? The person will begin to leak urine. So, like I said, we're having high increase in incidence of cases of iatrogenic fistula. And so,
any idea why there's an increase?
Yeah, and what we do as a project
is not training them well.
Because that's where my mind went.
What we do as a project is that we have this comprehensive emergency obstetrics and neonatal training, where we try to train our medical officers and bring them up to the level of proficiency and competence to be able to at least do these simple surgeries, you know, and not just somebody coming out and tells you I can do surgery and I can do this. No. You need to follow the simple steps and be able to do it very, very well, so that the woman does not come. Of course, you give that woman her baby, but she goes out with other complications.
Can I add something about this elective surgery thing?
Go ahead.
Okay. You know, when we talked about elective surgery, which is quite common now, and sometimes I tell myself I cannot understand, and at the same time I was what do you call it, primate? As a primate, I had labor for over 24 hours. Honestly,
wow.
Over 20. I thought I was literally going to die, until I was even sedated at some point. So, and
sedated inside labor. So how did you?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I blacked out, and I woke up in so much pain again, and
wow.
You know, it continued. But I do remember that immediately I had my son. That was it.
The pain
it was like
Everything
gone.
went away, yes.
It was like a switch, and the pain was gone.
Disappeared.
So for me, that's the difference between an elective surgery and natural childbirth. When you give birth to the child, that's it.
Yeah.
No more pain.
You know,
But then when you have a surgery, from our friends that had surgery, they went through pain for over weeks. So
like these days, it may not necessarily be because we have a good pain management during surgeries and even during labor. Remember, even in labor, you have this epidural whereby they continue putting some drugs that will mask the pains. So even in surgeries too, we try as much as possible not to make sure that the woman doesn't feel too much pain, because pain itself is a major issue. It's a major issue. But then, like I said earlier, people should there are different conditions that can warrant elective cesarean sections, whereby the doctor has made up his mind that you may not. If the baby is too big, it's obvious that the baby is too big, or if the baby is not lying properly, it's lying transversely or obliquely. Breach in prime mid, especially breach in prime mid.
You see, I've known small medicine.
I really hate this word.
Breach, yes.
No, not breach. I really hate this word primate. Every time I hear primate, I think about monkeys.
Primate gravida, that's this thing. So because their pelvis, they've not tried their pelvis. So if the presentation of the baby is breech, most of the times we don't allow them to go into labor. We don't allow them, because what happens is that the other part may come out, and the biggest part of is the head. Once the head is able to navigate any place, it means the other part will definitely come out. The other part may come out and the head gets trapped. So, and then the chances of losing that baby, so we just offer them.
When you talked about episiotomy, it took my mind back to 26 years back when I had my first one. It was a very big child. They did the pelvic assessment. They said it was viable.
Yeah.
At the point of delivery, dilation was almost complete, even though, contrary to you, the baby, she refused to come out really. I guess the chalet inside was very comfortable, so I had to induce. I had to give her quick notice. So eventually, with the hot drip, dilation came really fast, and time to pull out. I was not given episiotomy with that first child, and it came out 5.5 kg.
Wow, that's big.
And nothing was wrong. I went back to my room, but that's when the whole complication started, because instead of the episiotomy happening as it should have been planned, everything got busted, and nobody knew. So there was a lot of bleeding happening, a lot, till I had to practically pass out. That was when they spotted where the problem came from, and teaching began at that point.
Probably you had a tear somewhere.
Yeah. Everything. It wasn't just a tear; it was tears, like several. It wasn't guided.
It wasn't identified while you were in the labor room.
So that's why I think we should speak. I don't know what you're doing, whether it's an NGO or a community service. I don't know what you're doing, but I think you're engaged in something. You should be able to talk to medical personnel, as you're teaching the mothers on how to prevent fistula problem. You should also teach the medical people on how to help people, especially the very first, pregnancy carrying women, because we really do not know what we're getting into until when we get into it. I know that questions are still coming in. Let's just have our people participate. Come on, baby. All right, you're here. And good morning, dear presenters and guests. My question is, as a doctor, what happens when complications occur during childbirth and one life has to go? Who should be saved? That's
this is
your brother Otukpo, Benue State.
this is a no-brainer if you ask me.
What do you want me to say? It's obvious. Then I remember in my school days we used to have one maxim, one saying, "Live mother, live baby." But where it becomes difficult, please, I'm sorry to say this, the mother has to be alive to deliver more babies.
Yes, absolutely.
Or look after the ones that
So look after
are
the ones.
already there. So the newcomer can.
I think the person you know already, it's harder to lose than the person you're just meeting.
Okay.
So it has to be the mother. All right, please, doctor, what can a woman whose child died inside the womb do after delivery to clean herself up? That's Prince Chigozie. That's talking about stillbirth, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's stillbirth. Well, the child died inside the womb. Of course, the doctors will take care of the woman, and they will look at other things. Is it a fresh stillbirth, or is it macerated? Did the child die hours ago, days ago, before even delivery? And what that implies is that infective processes may have started. So that woman may actually need close treatment and monitoring to make sure that those infections don't cause subsequent problems, because it happens sometimes after that. Subclinical infections might have occurred, and then it becomes very difficult even for that woman to become pregnant the next time, because those infections could block the tubes.
Is that what's called sepsis?
Sepsis. Good. Sepsis.
Okay. Another person is asking us, what is the 421 platform? What is 421 platform, and how does it benefit women?
Oh, beautiful. 421 platform is actually an automated, toll-free, interactive voice response platform developed.
Come again.
Automated, toll-free, interactive voice response platform. Developed by my organization, Engender Health, in conjunction with Federal Ministry of Health and our communication partner, Viamo. So what is, it's all about, we have messages on safe motherhood, female genital mutilation, and then fistula prevention and management. So, and the platform uses Airtel network. So all you need to do is, if you press on 421, you hear.
Okay, the 421
Yeah.
is a number you
Yeah,
dial.
that is. You hear a voice. The voice will say, "Okay, good morning and welcome. What do you, for health-related issues, press 1.
Okay.
For education issues, press 2. Something like that. And when you press 1, it takes you further to say, okay, for fistula, press this. So it gives you messages, and because we notice that a lot of people in Nigeria, a lot of people have use a mobile network, so it has a wider coverage, and it's toll free. You don't need to pay anything. The only thing is that for now, we are still restricted to using Airtel network. We're trying to expand to other network, but it's very, very accessible because you can get a lot of information regarding those
Education.
When you say restricted to Airtel network, is that on the part of the person dialing?
Yeah, that is, you must have a.
Yeah, we must dial it from the.
Yeah, from an
Airtel.
number.
Yeah, from an Airtel.
That's
number.
quite restrictive.
Very, very restrictive.
Then
So
luckily,
it's 421.
they
421.
have quite a bit
Okay.
of spread.
Now, before we go, I need your parting words, and as mothers, to our viewing mothers at home.
Okay.
No, let's start with the women.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think it's critical to eat healthy when you're pregnant. Although the problem is that many pregnant ladies develop all manner of bizarre cravings, and I know
Sometimes it's an expression of longatus, Jenny.
a friend,
Use it.
a friend
Baby
ended up
wants to
with
eat
a
chicken.
massive baby
How
from.
baby takes a big chicken?
Chicken is
No,
healthy.
they used to collect money from their husbands.
If I marry somebody who will only buy me ice cream when I'm pregnant, that's not a marriage. I mean, like, I know we're trying to make light of it, but like,
Unfortunately.
it's that would be really sad if it's a reality. But I know of a situation where this lady suddenly started taking so much sugar and junk food that the baby
became so big.
was so large, and
it's
like,
true.
so
Okay.
eat healthy.
I would say, please, antenatal care. It's as funny as it is, many people still don't go for antenatal care. So Kulu, please go for antenatal care.
Or prenatal? Which one is it?
Okay.
Yeah, antenatal is the one you go when you're pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have antenatal care, you have labor and delivery, and you have postnatal care.
Which one is prenatal care?
Okay, prenatal is the same as
As
antenatal. Okay.
Okay, so
Antenatal care.
what's your own final words for
Yeah,
the
my
day?
final word is that I'm always pleased when I sit with women like you because I love women, and I want to preserve their lives. So just like she said, women should take care of their lives, because if anything happens to them, that same man will go and get another
one, Jerry. Thank
Yeah,
God it's coming from a man.
There's a man will go and get.
Thank
So
God
why
the
do you
man
want
will
to
talk
kill
and
yourself because of a man?
A man matter.
A man asks you to have 9 children, 10 children, and you agree to do that. Please.
All right, okay. Our time is no longer ours, so we need to go. And those who are still writing, we will be, replying you one-on-one instead of on the platform. I'll just say my parting words: whatever it is, children are not retirement investments. Please, they are supposed to be there to support you. They are, byproduct of marriage. So that means that you must not have several of them, and don't depend on them to, keep you comfort when you're old. Work for yourself, enjoy your money, train your children, and still save for old age. Bye for now. I'll be with you again next week.